Joining us on the line right now, he's our WNBA specialist. No, I'm just kidding. But he is, we call him Mr. X, the Hollywood conservative, and the reason why we call him that, he is a longtime Hollywood producer, made a lot of great films out there in Hollywood, and he also happens to be a Donald Trump supporter. Isn't it true, Mr. X, that you are a big WNBA fan?
I'm not sure what's the most offensive, whether the fact that you guys were talking about WNBA or the fact that your call answerer guy not only called me by my name, not Mr. X, but he called me by the wrong name.
Oh.
This is like layers of mystery and anonymity here. I don't even know what to say.
It's just an onion of ego damage.
Yeah, well,
and I would probably rather watch paint dry on my ceiling than a WNBA game.
Oh, well, that's mean. That's very mean.
Honestly, Mr. X, it isn't that bad. And if the Aces make the finals and one of the games is in Vegas, I'm going to invite you. You can stay at my place. We can go watch a game.
Mr. X, why are you so mean this morning? These women are playing so hard.
I'm just a sexist pig. I mean, I support Trump, so
right,
I mean,
exactly.
is there really much of a question? I'm clearly racist, sexist, homophobic. I eat babies. I mean,
right.
all the things that go along with being a Trump supporter.
Right. Well, I mean, eating babies might have gone too far, but I agree with everything else you said.
We've actually never gone over neonatal cannibalism before.
Yeah, let's not talk. Let's not start today.
Yeah, all right, fine. We'll do that another day.
I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, so we did literally 2 hours on gun control, and we probably took about 800 calls during that time frame. But again, I have another issue with Donald Trump. You can disagree with Beto O'Rourke. He wants to take all your AK-47s away. I don't think that was the right, appropriate thing to say. However, I understand why he said it. It's emotional for him. He's talked to all the victims' families. He wants to get something done. You can disagree with his policies, but Donald Trump goes on social media earlier today, and he calls Beto a dummy. I mean, does that really help the political discourse? Is that going to help bring people together or solve any issues when it comes to gun control?
Listen, man, all I can say for Trump is that he sits here and probably watches these Democratic debates where I've never seen such vitriol from these clowns toward the sitting president and disrespect. And, I mean, the amount of abuse that this guy takes. And you can think whatever you want about him. Like, I'm not going to necessarily defend him and some of the decisions he's made, but I think he's justified in calling the guy a dummy. There's a lot worse things that could be said and a lot of worse things that are said about him by the left. So, no, I don't think he's out of line. Like, calling somebody a dummy, come on.
I just thought it was lowbrow. I thought he could come up with a more specific, better insult than that. I wasn't impressed with the insult.
Absolutely. No, I mean, okay. I expect more from Trump, generally.
Well, hold on a second, Mr. X. Let me explain here. First of all, as far as what Beto's comments about taking all of your assault weapons away, a mandatory buyback, I wouldn't call that dumb. I would say it's just not going to happen. It's not necessarily logical. In a perfect world, I would like to see that happen. I would like to see all the assault. Okay, so okay. So we agree. So it's not necessarily dumb.
But Beto O'Rourke is still an idiot. But that has
Well, I'm just talking about this issue, this specific issue, and that's why he called him dumb. Sure. If you want to say, well, he's dumb because of blah 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 blah, I'll listen to you. I'm not a Beto O'Rourke fan. I would never vote for the guy.
I'm joking in some ways, but of course, politicians shouldn't be calling each other dummies. Like if Trump wanted to dispute his express his opinion about this or say that he disagreed with that, he should have come up with a well-crafted and intelligent response.
Exactly.
With regard to that.
That's my only issue.
But all I'm saying, and I maintain that he's not the only guilty party here.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
A lot of the left calling him a Nazi and calling him a racist and calling him, and all this. And it's like,
what prominent Democrat has called him a Nazi?
I mean, walk through Hollywood and ask any famous actor that's on the left, and I guarantee. I mean,
well, of course, there's going to be whack jobs.
In all fairness, Elizabeth Warren did call him a fascist.
Okay, but there's a difference between calling somebody a fascist and a Nazi.
Yeah, but I think calling somebody a fascist is just as bad as calling them a dummy.
Well, here's my opinion. Here's my opinion on that.
If not much worse.
Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He is the leader of the free world. Exactly. He should be setting the example, number one. I'm not defending anybody out there that calls the president a Nazi. Nazis, do I need to give the history there? I don't think I do.
Of course.
So I am not defending that at all. However, I'm sure you would agree as much as there are, many liberals on the left that you have to deal with every day in Hollywood, there's also some extremists on the right as well. We had a guy call in today that blamed Democrats for all the mass shootings that have happened in this country. The point being is that you're going to get nut jobs both on the left and the right. And, I don't, listen, I'm not a big fan of the Squad. They have very low approval ratings. I don't like some of the things they have said. But for the most part, a prominent Democrat, even a Nancy Pelosi, who I'm not a big fan of, would not. Now, they've called him a racist. I'll say that. But I don't think any prominent Democrat has ever called Donald Trump a Nazi. And I would totally disagree with that assessment.
Fine.
Now,
fine. So take that away. So asking you, would you rather be called a dummy or a racist?
Well, I think they go hand in hand. I think if you're a racist, you are a dummy. I think ignorance is racism.
No, you're deflecting. You're deflecting the question.
The point I'm trying to make is that they're lobbing very serious accusations at Trump as far as being a racist,
right?
And he called somebody a dummy. Like, come on! Like, I would much rather be called a dummy every day of the week than somebody accuse me of being a racist.
I understand, listen, point taken. I understand what you're saying, but I guess the point I'm making, and you understand where I'm coming from, is we're talking about a huge issue in this country, not just gun violence and but we're talking about mass shootings. Most logical people would agree this is a problem in this country, and yes,
I do.
I think if you want to reach across the aisle, and if Beto O'Rourke wants to reach across the aisle, probably not the best idea to call the president a racist. But with that being said, the president needs to set the tone. And if anything is going to get done, and I mean anything, and by the way, I'm not sure that's going to happen as far as gun control goes, I think it starts with the president of the United States.
All right. So,
I agree with you.
So Mr. X, now I'm going to take a page out of Trump's book here. So now that old Joe and older Bernie are starting to lose some ground to Elizabeth Warren, what do you think that let's say Elizabeth Warren wins a Democratic nomination and she beats Trump in 2020? What would an America under Elizabeth Warren look like to you?
I mean, honestly, you guys are going to disagree with this potentially. It wouldn't look any different than it is now. All that it would, honestly, the most sizable difference would be that this incredibly militant, offensively stupid group of leftists, like in Hollywood, would be happy, and a new, incredibly offensive, equally stupid group of probably Southern gentlemen who just do not like her would become the most vocal aspect of the sort of 24/7 media frenzy, politically. I think that's really the only major difference. Like, I've always, this is going to sound kind of stupid, I've always maintained that I don't actually think the president is all that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, he can't just, unilaterally do whatever he wants. This government was created
or
with
she
balances, and he or she. Well, yeah, exactly. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah. But I really think that all that it would come down to is, the various sort of rhetoric that's out there, and that's really the only major thing that would change. And there would be some policy changes, but I don't think that anyone is able to really exert that much power from the position of president.
Yeah, if you're
Trump, Trump's done some things, and but like.
Wait, you sound like Omar. You sound like Omar. They did some things. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
When she referenced 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Amazing.
That's a disgrace.
But I mean, I just think he's a figurehead to a large extent, and honestly, like, there probably could be a better figurehead for the U.S. than Trump. He's not the most intelligent or PR savvy guy.
That's an understatement.
And so honestly, like, that's another thing. If she beat Trump, we'd probably become a little more popular overseas and in, Europe, and maybe these countries would stop hating us so much because, they dislike Trump. But I think those are the only, I think they would be superficial differences. I think that the major issues that, like you said, like things like the opioid epidemic and gun control and various issues like that, I don't think she could really affect that much change in those things. Just like Trump has not been able to do everything he wants, he's met with bitter opposition from the other side.
If you're just joining us on the line, he is our Hollywood conservative, as we like to call him, Mr. X. And the reason why we don't give his name out on the air is because, yes, he is a Donald Trump supporter and he is a producer in Hollywood. So I always ask you this question every week, and this will be no different. Do you have any stories you could tell us, any liberals, actors, producers, people behind the scenes, any stories that you would like to share with us that you've had to suffer through?
Well, not directly, but I couldn't help but notice that Kevin Spacey has employed the Hillary Clinton style of making his problems go away, in that a bunch of his accusers are either suddenly not wanting to cooperate or dying. His most recent accuser just passed away.
One just died like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I think Hillary has definitely indoctrinated him on how to get out of these issues when he has them.
Wait, so, which victim was this? Was this the kid that was at the bar with him, or?
No, this was the kid who was at the bar with him just suddenly decided to stop cooperating.
Well, I think he got paid off. That's what I think happened.
Or Hillary or one of the minions paid him a visit. But no, the guy who I guess he made fondle his whatever during a massage passed away, and there's not a lot of information about what happened. As of now, it's not known exactly what the cause was or anything like that. So, I don't know, man. You get a lot of money with these guys and a lot to lose. I don't know.
Yeah, Spacey. It's just kind of he was such a good actor. American Beauty.
He was a monster.
Well, unbelievably good actor.
And I knew that, and like Bryan Singer, and like I had encountered these guys 10, 15 years ago when they were at the height of their power, and I mean, just disgusting. I mean, and like the climate was different back then. It was kind of like, oh my God, that's Bryan Singer. Don't say anything wrong, so he'll put you in his movie. I mean, but you could tell these guys were just absolute monsters.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have a Kevin Spacey signed 8x10 photo. It's on my wall, but eventually I think I'm going to have to take that thing down and put him next to.
You actually do, don't you?
I actually do, but I'm going to actually put it next to my videotapes of the best of Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC to Catch a Predator, because that's probably where he belongs.
Man,
it's bad.
Yeah, he was one of the worst.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. X, we always appreciate it hearing your perspective from a Hollywood conservative. We look forward to catching up with you again next week, my man. And if Kevin Spacey tries to fondle you, just send him my way. We'll set him straight, okay?
If he does, I'm going to let
no
it
pun
happen.
intended there, by the way.
I want him to be in my next movie, so I'll just let it happen. That's fine. And I'll write a book about it.
Right. That's how it goes.
All right, Mr. X.
You'll discuss your emotional angst.
And from now on,
your self-inflicted emotional angst.
And I'll become transgender.
Well, don't do that. And from now on, I'll make sure my producer addresses you as Mr. X and Mr. X only. Okay?
Yeah, I don't want him using my name. I don't know who's listening. Kevin Spacey, Hillary, I don't know.
That's true. They might. All right. All right,
guys.
Thanks so much for coming on, my man. We appreciate it.
See you, Mr. X.
There he is, the Hollywood conservative, Mr. X, joining us. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this and preview tomorrow's show. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
When IDs aren't checked, underage consumers can access vapor products. Juul Labs is working with retailers to fix that, with an age verification system stricter than anything for alcohol or cigarettes. It blocks Juul product sales until a valid of-age ID is scanned, and it blocks all bulk sales. By May 2021, we will stop shipping to outlets that haven't implemented this system. To learn more, visit Juul.com/retail access. Paid for by Juul Labs.
Have you heard what President Trump said recently?
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
Now you can watch Newsmax TV and get the truth about Trump from Bill O'Reilly, Mike Reagan, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, and more. Newsmax TV is America's fastest-growing cable news channel, now in 70 million homes. Find Newsmax on DirecTV, Dish, Xfinity, Spectrum, Optimum, Fios, UVerse, and more systems. See Newsmax TV today. It's real news for real people.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from The Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
A googol is 1 and 100 zeros. This number was defined by American mathematician Edward Kasner in the 1930s. His 9-year-old son made up the word, which led to the name Google. So the most influential company in the world today got its name from a 9-year-old in the 1930s.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Sean Hannity. It happens in elections and it happens with Supreme Court nominees. And that is the lies, the slander. This is what the left in America is now reduced to.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. The Top talk of Las Vegas.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Oh, long time no see. It's me, the Rock T-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos, police,
devastation,
injury,
tears, death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Got a fun show lined up for you tomorrow. Today was an interesting one as well. I mean, usually it's unorthodox for a show to take 2 straight hours of phone calls. But again, we try to let the listeners be a big part of this show, and we always appreciate those phone calls. And we probably took about, like I said, 800 calls today. But
yes, thanks for all your calls.
Well, it's gun control division in this country. Certainly, it's a big topic that needs to be discussed, and hopefully Republicans and Democrats can do the same and at least start the conversation, because it seems to be going nowhere. Anyway, tomorrow on the show, Michael Avenatti will be joining us. Usually he joins us on Wednesdays. Wasn't feeling too good today. So Mr. Avenatti is planning to come on the show tomorrow. I know he's got a lot to say when it comes to Brett Kavanaugh and maybe Stormy Daniels, too, after our little Twitter feud with Stormy last night. So Michael will be joining us tomorrow. Another Michael, a different Michael, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. What is the latest on Antonio Brown? The latest? Well, apparently he's not out of the woods yet, because police have contacted one of Brown's accusers. So there could be criminal charges. We are going to continue to monitor that story, and we know TMZ Sports will be on top of it.
Rappaport just made a statement, and the NFL is not placing him on the exempt list. He's still playing this weekend.
If he wasn't a superstar, I don't think that would be the case. But anyway, we will have that conversation with Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports tomorrow. Also, Las Vegas Aces are in action tomorrow on the road against the Mystics in Game 2. We talked a little bit about what took place yesterday in Game 1. We are planning to have Aces head coach Bill Laimbeer join us on the show tomorrow. So jam-packed show for you tomorrow. As always, we always try to pack the show as much as we can. And by the way, that story about the drag queens that are reading stories in Henderson public libraries, that story's not going away. It's heating up some more. So we want to get that group, Mass Resistance, we're going to get them back on the show either tomorrow or Friday. I just want to understand from people out there, what is your big beef with it? What is the big issue? If you're not for that sort of behavior, don't bring your kids to the library. But we will probably talk to them, and that topic will come up tomorrow as well. Check us out on Twitter, by the way, at The Vegas Take. Also on every social media platform you can find, including YouTube, The Vegas Tape, and SoundCloud, The Vegas Take as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day. The man, Sean Hannity, coming up next. Thanks for joining us on The Vegas Take. Have a great day.